this season on Kerr Fatou. Fatou. Oli.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Kerr Fatou. Tonight with me, I have two of my brothers, so I don't know how this show is definitely going to go. The Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, for the first time on Kerr Fatou. Welcome to Kerr Fatou, Bakary.
Thank you, Fatou.
And of course, I have the President of GFF, Lamin. You have been here before. I think that was after the elections. It's been a while. So many things happened. Welcome back to Kerr Fatou.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302 data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data, it's fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
So today we're going to talk about the Minister of Youth and Sports and also football especially. Honorable Minister, first let's look at, since you take over, I've said this to so many people. When you were appointed to the position of Minister of Youth and Sports, there was so many hope. Yeah. So many of us, even those of us who didn't get involved in politics, we were excited. We were excited because we wanted a younger face there. We wanted somebody that we can relate to. We wanted somebody we believe, will hear our voices. I think a year plus into your appointment, what would you tell us that you have done? What were you able to achieve since you took over as Minister of Youth and Sports?
Good evening to the viewers. Of course, like you said, first time being here since after appointment. Yeah. It's actually less than a year now.
It's less than a year, right? Okay, yeah.
It's exactly 11 months.
Close to a year now.
Today, yeah, close to a year. But yeah, alhamdulillah, we're doing quite well in our responsibility as ministry, and few things have happened in between the appointment and now. Quite a number of it goes towards the development of sports and empowering young people. And key would be the issue of infrastructure, because when we came in, we realized that, well, of course, not even when we came in, even before we were there, we've always talked about the lack of infrastructure. So the focus has been, how do we ensure that we provide some form of infrastructural improvements across the country? And that's what led us to continue the project that was there, that was started previously, in terms of constructing some football fields, bringing them up to standard. Well, we call them mini stadiums. That's how it is called locally. But from Kafuta to Fulabantang to Buyam, Janjambure, and in the Sandu, in Wuli, there are ongoing works in terms of developing that, because that helps us to develop sports at the rural level. The other area also is the investment in terms of supporting the football, the kind of money that is been put into supporting the national team. Has not happened in the past. It's mostly the Gambia Football Federation. Of course, government used to put in occasionally, but we also now trying to take charge of what our responsibilities are in terms of providing the needed funding for the team international games, of course. And the same thing applies with other sports, basketball, volleyball. We see quite a number of them now going outside to compete in international games. In the past, yes, there has been struggles. They go sometimes, and sometimes they're not able to go. We still have those kind of things now, but it has decreased. So on the side of the youth, one area that we focus on is trying to ensure that our youth policy goes to cabinet and get approved, because the youth policy expired in 2018, and there has not been a policy that was in place. So eventually, it had to do the cabinet paper, and got cabinet passed the policy in July, around the 15th of July. That kind of gives us a guideline as to how do we engage the young people. And we understand there are some young people that are not necessarily in sports, they're not also necessarily in advocacy, but they're interested in business. The youth revolving loan, the $20 million youth revolving loan, is out there supporting young people who are in business, set up new businesses or strengthen existing ones. So in summary, these are some of the things that we've been able to do, in addition to the internal rearrangements of the ministry and ensuring that there's vibrancy and people are in positions where they can be able to deliver better.
So I'll definitely come back to the youth revolving fund. I think that's something that a lot of youth will be interested. How do we get to have access to those funds? And also, we want to congratulate actually both of you for the development in sports athletics. We have seen Gambian Gina and Ibrahima, how they raised the Gambian flag. But most importantly, for the first time, the senior team qualified for the AFCON. We have never got that level, so I think definitely that's something that is worth commendable under your leadership, both of you. Kabba, tell us, what is the situation right now at GFF? The last time we had a conversation, it was more about after the election. There was some transitioning going on, but we have seen the senior team qualifying. We have also seen the junior team being the West African champions, and there was so much development. What is the status right now at Football House?
Thank you very much, and for giving me the opportunity once again. And I think this is a very good forum with my brother and friend and my minister. I think a lot has really happened and in between in Gambian football, and then in addition to the qualification, for the qualification, it's a process. We started this since we assumed office in 2014. We really tasked ourselves. We put the strategies in place, and also we drew the roadmap, road to AFCON, and Alhamdulillah, we missed 2 opportunities, but this time we are able to be there. For the senior national team, as I said, the professionalization of the senior national team male is almost 100% achieved. We had a very rigorous scouting process, identifying and reaching out to potential players in this national team, those of Gambian origin, by way of immigration and other things. And personally, last year, the national team coach went around into some European countries, and then we met some of those who had the potential to play. And this has played a dividend, because football really we have to accept. Sometimes we have people say, oh, we have our boys here. You go from Basse to Kwana and look for we have good talented people they can play. Yes, that's the objective.
Yeah.
But the levels are very, very, very. They are poles apart. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And we tried it a few times when we want to fill in local base players against certain national leagues. The defeat that we encountered in the hands of South Africa and Namibia here. So we really had to work on with the support and approval of the ministry. We were able to hire a professional coach who really, since he started with us, are really been progressing. And then our FIFA ranking also has dramatically improved. As I said, now the coach will give us a monthly update on our players. He has on his list more than 120 Gambian players, people who are potential to play for national team across the world. And in that 20, you can count maybe not more than 3 or 4 who are locally based. You can see, and the list is growing. Every day somebody will identify himself that I'm my father from Gambia or from Gambia. This year I want to have the opportunity to play for the team, or the coach or his associates will also identify. That really put the Gambia on the margin tab. This is why he's able to have that lot of pool of players that he can easily select from. And then the improvement in their allowances and their other incentives this week is also very important. And then through the support and the collaboration with the ministry, even the hotels, we have improved on the hotel accommodation. The standard of hotels that we used to prevail are now quite different. And most importantly, that we can stand out most is the issue of traveling by air. Because the COVID situation has really not made air travel flexible. We have the uncertainty in terms of flights, the possibility of flights being cancelled at the last hour. We really impact on trying to bring players together to the normal commercial route. And then we did it successfully on 2 occasions when the ministry would charter a plane, charter flight to bring the players from, assemble them from Brussels to respective destinations. And this really also put the national team to another level. Not only facilitate the traveling of the players and the technical team, but also it has really further boost the morale of the players and the technical team. These are all new things that really have never happened, have not been happening before. And then also, if you look at not only because quite often we are distracted by the senior national team, we have the other categories of the national team. You mentioned the under 20. They are the reigning champions of the WAFU Zone 2, and they also performed very well in the recently concluded AFCON under 20 in Togoseli, Mauritania. They are the bronze medalists. 2018 they were the WAFU champions again, and so these are things that are happening. The women's football team, the women's national team also. For the first time, the senior national team women have been ranked because they were never on the FIFA ranking, but now they're in fact, if you look at the global ranking, they're even higher than the men, both globally and so all this is happening. And the women under 20, as we speak, are also preparing for the Women's World Cup qualifiers, African, and the senior national team also preparing for the AFCON. In the next couple of weeks, we start the senior national team women, and then under 20 will be playing their matches for qualification to AFCON women and also under 20 World Cup women. And then at the national level also, the league also, I think everybody agrees that this is the best league we ever had in terms of the competition for both first and second division, male and female. Even at the regional level, and we also, because the league is being expanded, we are going to welcome 3 more teams from the professional regions into the second division. So now the league, you're going to have a team from URR, you're going to have a team from LRR, and also National and West Coast region is there. So these are all, improvement in the league. Now the league is no longer the Greater Banjul area or West Coast and the urban areas, but now it's stretched out. And then the third one is from CRR. So we have 3 teams that are going to compete in the National League at the level of the second division, and their performance will determine any of them could be lucky and then be promoted to first division. So these are the areas that really, and this for both male and female. These are areas that really, and then the matches are also being decentralized. We have a couple of matches being played in Jara Soma. And then if you look at the fanfare around the league, which is our #1 product, that's the raison d'etre of the Football Federation.
Yeah.
And then if you look at, so you're aware of the night matches and all those things. And really it has, and then the close of the ceremony that went around the closing of the league, the crowning of champions, are really a phenomenon. We thank God that really we are able to achieve that. Maybe you didn't ask, because when you talk about the successes, we also have to talk about, maybe we'll come to that.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. But still on football, though, still on football. Honourable Minister, for the first time, like I said, Gambia qualified to the AFCON. And, even those who are not in football, because that's our flag going high there. Yes. What role is government playing to make sure that all the necessary support that needed for us to make a mark in this tournament? What role is government going to play to make sure we have a successful attendance in this tournament?
Well, the role is principal, actually. Government have the principal role, in doing what is needed in terms of the logistics and the financing. Yeah. And then the management of it is at the level of the Football Federation, and the technical preparation is also at the level of the Football Federation. So after the qualifications, Gambia was confirmed. Yeah. We've been working internally between the ministry and the GFF to set the stage for what happened last week when the Vice President, on behalf of the President, launched the AFCON, the National Coordinating Committee for the appearance in AFCON. And prior to that, the Gambia Football Federation had already gone ahead to start the technical preparation. And in May, end of May, early part of June, they were in Turkey for a 14 days training camp, and that went successfully well. And of course, they played some countries, about 3 countries, and I think they won 2 games. And so that's part of the preparation, because that was not related to anything apart from using a FIFA window to prepare for the AFCON, but the president will talk more about those things. Yeah. Now, and then, of course, we had, like I said, launched the committee last week. The NCC had its first meeting. A budget has been developed for the preparation, what is needed in terms of training camps, and then the appearance proper, together with some of the other logistics that need to be in place. So this is what we've been working on. So now that we have come public, we're working together as a committee. And that is not GFF and ministry, but we've brought in some other people, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, the media, some private individuals, and we put them in a committee to work towards raising the required funding to go and participate effectively. So, and GFF is continuing its engagement with other countries. Of course, they should have been in Comoros recently. That did not happen. And there are other test matches that are coming up in October, and then they will have one training camp eventually before they go to the AFCON in January. So this is the collaborative work between the two, the central government and the Gambia Football Federation, and now bringing in other people. And the most important thing is 2 things. Yeah. Is the technical preparation, and then the required funding to go. Yeah. So this is what we have tasked ourselves. So in the coming 4 months, we will be busy preparing and then raising the required funding. But of course, government also have in the 2022 budget included the appearance of Gambia in AFCON. So that's a new addition in the budget, which has never been there before. So all of that is coming. Plus whatever the committee is able to raise, put that together is what we will be able to provide the team to go.
So, Honorable Minister, you raised something that's really the participation of government, raising funds. A few months ago, you guys, when the team came, the president and the government, we saw the president support Gina and the athletes. Also, when the football senior and the junior team, I think both went to him and he gave them some support. Today, I just want to say, one of the team members did raise some alarm saying the support that the president, the government provided, they still have not had access to that. So morally, people will be thinking, if you're putting all these committees together to raise funds to support the footballers, if they're having issues accessing allowances or money that is allocated to them, how would that boost the team morale to be able to properly prepare for the tournament?
It can have an impact on their morals, if any. But one thing I've always said in the past is that they are statutory allowances, if I may call it that way. that were settled, that we don't owe, because those are linked to their games and their winnings.
Yeah.
So when they win, they get those things. That has been settled. This was, the 11.1 million was, it's just a practice, across countries, that when you qualify, government would provide an incentive and said, okay, for doing this, we're giving you this, which is not necessarily statutory allowances or winning bonuses that they have. That's not the issue. So when the 11.1 million was allocated to the senior team, 2.5 million for the under 20, and then 500,000 to the volleyball, we put all of those together, and we were going to present that at the State House. So of course the president called. So the under 20 got their 2.5 million. The volleyball team got their 500,000. The Scorpions, on the day of the ceremony, we were told that they were not coming because they thought the money was small, and they were not answering to the call of the president. So we went ahead with the ceremony, presented to the other 2 clubs, and actually presented all of the 3. Now, the under 20 took their money and shared it among themselves, and the volleyball did. But because the Scorpions said they did not want the money was lying at the NSC, at the National Sport Council. The check was presented, but it didn't go. So when they rejected the money, it was lying there. Now, government, in reality, we operate on a cash flow. You don't have money kept somewhere where you can go and take it and be giving out or invest it. And then if somebody say, I don't want it, you leave it there for a month or 2 months or 3 months. It doesn't operate like that. So
it's been used already?
Yeah. So when they said they did not want it, after some time, there was a negotiation between the GFF and the players.
Can I come in here? Is it because you said that? Because I watched the program and you said, well, you said it, somebody said, if they don't want it, we'll use it on other things. Is it because they didn't want it at that time, so you used it on another thing?
No, it was not at the time. What I said in that interview, which your reporter published, unfortunately, he decided to pick that part of it and publish it.
I saw the report, so that's why I saw it.
Yeah, it came as a sequence.
Okay.
That was linked to a question that he asked. The player said they don't want the money. What is now going to happen with the money? That was exactly his question. And I said, well, what else could happen with the money? The money is their money. If they take it, that would be good. That's what we want. But if for any reason the players insist that they don't want the money, we will use it on other projects. I mean, these are government money. It's not money for me. It's not money for something else. We have a lot of requests coming in from associations, basketball, football, volleyball, athletics, and then youth organizations. Sometimes they have meetings outside, they come to us. If you have money lying down somewhere and somebody said, I don't want it, and then we don't deal with the players directly. It's the GFF that deals with the players. The GFF communicated to us that the players said they don't want the money based on a letter they sent to the GFF. We used that letter, and we allowed the GFF some time to negotiate with them. The negotiation did not yield any results. And then, eventually, we had, like I said, we have a lot of projects that are ongoing. Fulabantang, Janjambure, all of these mini stadiums are costing government money. And government, if you have all those things, plus the Olympics was also on the pipeline. They had a budget of about 3.5 million. And then quite a number of other associations. So when the money was there and they said they didn't want it, we used it on those projects. And that's the reality. Now, after it was spent like 3 weeks or so, after all of these things, we even allowed the money to be there for 3 weeks or close to a month. Now, when we used it, then a letter came that they have withdrawn their position
now they want the money.
Of not wanting the money, and now they want the money. So, and then, in fact, before the letter came, it was a verbal communication. And Marcel, who is the executive director of Sport Council, told me that GFF, I think the team manager called him, that the players said they want the money. And I said, okay, the fact that they wrote officially, let them also write official. So they wrote officially, and that letter was internal. Nobody even saw that letter anywhere. And we agreed that, yes, now that you want your money, we will facilitate to send you the money. But at the same time, the Olympics was preparing. We need to take care of that. There were some other costs, and I told them, use that money that is there and take care of these things that are already standing. Now, the letter came, we said, okay, now the letter came, we will look for money and put it back. And that's exactly what happened. It's not that somebody ate the money or anything. Nobody can eat the money.
Now that we are preparing for AFCON, how are we going to make sure that these things are fixed? Because we need the team to be in good spirit. We need the ministry, the GFF, and the team to be on one page, because that's what the Gambians are looking for.
No, as far as I'm concerned, and I think with all of the GFF and everybody, we are on the preparations. And we believe we are on track in terms of preparations. But like I said, by last year, when government was doing the budget for 2021, this issue of qualifications and all the expenses were never factored. And you don't blame anybody for that. It's probably nobody anticipated that Gambia was going to qualify. So what is in government budget in terms of ministry allocation is very minimal. And that is mostly goes towards overcost and other things. So what we're using now is the levy. And the levy depends on the inflow of cash. Now, that's not fixed money that government budgeted. Even the budget, there's a reason why it is called an estimate. Because it means that it is not readily available. So, and that's why it's called an estimate. So when the money comes, we spend. We don't have any money kept. And this is my point. But that doesn't change the fact that people can say what they want to say. And that's okay. But this government is investing, and I said it somewhere and they said it's not true. This government is investing more in sport. From 2019 to now, the investment in the national team alone, not the other side, the investment in the national team is $100 million. Wow. That's a lot. And that what the president said in terms of allowances has been increased. Players don't come here and they don't get their allowances, they get their allowances paid. Their hotel accommodation has improved, their travel arrangements have improved. That is a commitment that government made. And I think if people are fair, they will agree that government is committed. That's why it even went ahead, knowing that there are limitations in the budget, to create a special levy, a special fund that will be directed into the sport. That is an indication of commitment. Will we get everything that we need? No, we cannot. But we are trying as much as possible to be able to generate the funds to take care of the national team. But if you have a small economy like Gambia, whose expenses mostly come from taxes and nothing else, and you have other competing priorities in the health sector, education sector, agriculture, and all the other areas, the youth and sports is a priority, but they cannot get everything. Just like how the hospital and other places are not getting everything. And so when you have expenses that 12, like you come out from spending 100 million in the qualifications, then you have a training camp in Turkey that costs government about 12 million. Then you have another one that's supposed to take place 2 months after that. And then you have another one that's going to cost about 12 or 13 million 2 months after that. Those funds are not available, but the commitment is there. And as far as we are concerned, GFF, us players understand. The fans, sometimes they don't get the information and they put opinions out there on the social media. We use that as genuine criticism and it helps us to improve. But we cannot be able to assure everybody that we can provide funding as and when it is needed. I think that's what I want.
I think that is very important, and it's key, and I think it's evident. Even if you look at the investment, what is happening in sports, for the first time, I mean, even going for collecting footballers with a private hire plane, chartered flights, we have never had that. I mean, I think the commitments, honestly, is there, but I think also the working together will be very important. So, what are you doing? The footballers are under you guys. You know, they need to also understand the situation on the ground. They need to understand that, yes, this is a smaller economy. What other footballers are being paid, maybe our economy cannot afford that. But sometimes this is also for country. What are you doing to get the footballers on the same page to understand that this is very important to every Gambian, not just government, but every single Gambian? What is GFF doing to
as the minister already said, you know, because of our involvement, the federation, different levels did our best to ensure that at least that position of the players changed. Even though we had taken some steps prior to the decision being taken to boycott and reject the amount of money, we did some of the evidence the minister himself is later got. But it's a very delicate one. It's a very delicate one because this is not unique to Gambia. We've seen even bigger countries, much more endowed, resource-endowed countries, national teams, you know, doing certain things. But we know we are working. That's why we are prepared, and they had to go to the training camp in Turkey, and nobody is saying that they're spending money is not. And then they would have gone to Comoros, and there are no issues, there are no signs that, you know, there's going to be bigger issues, shake up, whatever, without this problem. So we are aware. Maybe the minister will, I know he will have to be very careful trying to sit down here, make some commitment here, but I'm sure we are aware of the effort that they are making, he's making personally, to ensure that the backlog is repaid before, and if possible. But notwithstanding the coach, because the players also, there's a limit that the federation also can go with them. Because the setup is such that we also don't interact with them that much is the coach also who's the boss, and then so he's who has also done a lot of PR work, done a lot of work with the players, making them understand. We talked to him, he talked to them. At one point, the team manager also, who's very much in contact with every player, and then alhamdulillah, he earned their respect, and he's young, but he has that leadership quality that really they sometimes even when I get stuck or the coach gets stuck, sometimes we use this team manager who can really break the ice. So the efforts are already on. This is why we have this the current situation. We don't have any alarm. While efforts are being made to recover what we lost in terms of the amount of money that they eventually accepted to take. But I can assure you, so far so good. With the most recent call-up that the coach sent for the Comoros proposed training camp, we had almost 99% positive response. So I think the players also, they appreciate it, they know the condition of the country, the economic state and everything. And each of them take pride in putting on the national team. We might quarrel, we might misunderstand, people have their opinions here and there, but at the end of the day, they all see Gambia first. That one is evident. That's why they had to go back to their decision and understand and came back and said, look, okay, we are sorry, and then we will do this. And as I said again, many things happen, and I'm sure none of them would take that issue to a level that would disrupt our preparations and participation in AFCON. I can assure you of that, and I'm sure the minister himself is fully aware of that.
Yeah. So we'll take our first commercial. When we come back, we'll talk about youth development. What is in there for us, the youths? It's important. We wanted a youth minister. What is the policy for the young people, youth enterprises and others? What is the government policy on youth development? I think that is very important. We have said this. A lot of the young people in this country, they need a little support. When you go to banks, they ask for collaterals. How many of us can put collaterals at the bank? But what is government doing to support these young people? So when we come back, we look at that and other sports as well.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
fay lempo warugal la si képp koo xam ne doomi réew mi nga ak ñu fi dëkk bu fekkee ne ci at mi sa koom-koom weesu na $2,400 dalasi mbete weer bu nekk di nga am lu tollu si $2,000 dalasi lempo si la nguur gi di sukkandiku ngir liggéey yokkute réew mi GRA mooy banxaas bu nguuri Gambia sas ngir mu fayeku lépp luy lempo ci biir réew mi ba tax na GRA di yëgal faykati lempo yi ne warugal la pour ñu fay lu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment maanaam bépp contrat bu waay joxe te si biir réew mi la ñu toog kon xaalis si contrat bi ngeen nangutoo war nga cee wàññi ci xayma téeméer bu nekk fukka bu fekkee ne contracto bi dëkkut ci biir réew mi bu boobaa di nga war a wàññi téeméer bu nekk fukka ak juróom lii mooy lempo bu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment lii mooy lempo bi nga xam ne yow mi joxe contrat warugal la nga wëlbatiku dem fay ko ci maakaani GRA tax office bu la gën a jege mbete ci banque yi GRA jagleel pour fay lempo war ngaa jébal lempo bi si diiri fukki fan ak juróom gannaaw bi nga wàññee ci xaalis si contrat bi amul benn contracto bu ñu teggil fay lempo bi xanaa mu fekk ne nguuri Gambia ñoo ko jégale boole si projet yi nga xam ne mbootaay ndimbali ñoo koy dépense GRA di fayeku lempo ngir yokkute réew mi.
Sampa
dee na
déedéet daf ma yónni woon ma suyal ko bii
waaw
yàlla def mu gañe jàppoon $100,000 la
laa ilaha illallah
te yow xam nga ne sama papa dafa amee cardiaque
yow da ngaa dof yow xam nga luy $100,000
xam naa ko kay man naa lu ñëw bëggoon nga dimbali ci
demal na nga def damaa toog rek sama xel mi ne ci yow xam nga bërki démb li daal si benn waay fee
waaw
ma romb ko rek bërki démb
waaw
muy yuux di tëb ma ni kii lu ko dal ñu ne ma daal ci loto gaming Gambie bi la laal
jar na ko
laal na ci lu di waaw
nga dafa am quarté am kente am tiercé waaw maanaam nag tey jii
waaw
kente bi la te jackpot bee passé xaalis
kente mooy lan
kente maanaam mooy juróomi fas yi
waaw beneen bi
am na quarté mooy ñeenti fas yi ak tiercé tey nag xaalis bi daa gën a yokk
lu tax
ndax jackpot bële dañ kaa tegaat ci bii maanaam juróomi fas yi boo ko jàppee ci ordre mooy risque nga désordre bi sax day fay bu ma ko jàppoon
yooyu moom noonu la demee da ngay dem rek jiyee
am na lu ma yaakaar
man gis naa seen kii yi keesku yu ndaw yi ci biir dëkk bi mais daal dama ni lii moom amul xaalis da nga ci def sa xaalis te doo am
jël wecce rek sànni ko fa xool jëmbat la laa ilaha illallah yow li nga wax ni tey ji bu yàlla dogaloon ma gañe ko lu mu gàtt
fi mu toll nii boo gañe woon $100,000
waaw lu may def
waaw nooy def
xam nga yow sama xarit nga
waaw
damay fexe nga rey say noonu
ci nan
lu mu gàtt $50,000
waay
Thierno woowee l'ambulance
lan la lu xew ni
sa baay gay dee na
sama papa gay lu ko rey
$100,000 laa ne ko boo ma gañaloon si li ma la yónni dama ko koy jox mu daanu nii sama kaw
man waxuma ko mu waxee woon la ko noonu yow la ko waroon informé ndax yow yaa ko gañe yaa gañe jàppal.
Welcome back to part 2. I think part 1 was really interesting. It gave us an idea as to what is happening in this sports industry. But I said, for me, I think in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, youth sector is the most important, because they said a developed youth is a better country. When the youths are well trained, are well equipped, we have a great future. And today, a lot of us take pride in having a youth minister. I have said on this platform so many occasions, you know, we're tired of having 70-year-old as youth representatives, because they don't know our feelings. They don't know what we do at the ghettos. I remember I was the biggest critic of the ministers, the president's youth advisor. I've said it several times here, that look, Mr. President, you want us to listen to you? Give us a young person. And that's why I think a lot of us appreciated your appointment. And because you are at the ghettos with us, you are at the football field with us, you are everywhere with us. And that is why it is important, because you know our problem. You are youth yourself. These are the common things that you have gone through yourself. But like, let's talk about the government's youth policy. What is in there for the young people?
Well, the policy, it's like the bridge is the one that ended in 2018, and it should have kickstarted that year, or at least 2019, but there was a break. I mean, there was a gap. So we just got Cabinet to approve it last July. After it was submitted, and with the Cabinet and everything. So within the policy, the highlights of it is some of the keys that are confronting young people, from the previous one to the emerging issues now. And key among them is the issue of illegal migration, and the young people's use of drugs, and also the young people who are in conflict with the justice system. And there are some aspects about the environmental issues that we're having now. And, so pretty much that's what it is. And then sexual and reproductive health, and quite a number of issues, then the young people in entrepreneurship, and young people and the need for skills building. So it catalogs these areas, and it highlights on what government responsibility is and what kind of platforms should be created to be able to ensure that the young people have the opportunity to be addressing some of those issues. So generally, that's what a summary would be. So in each of those areas, for instance, young people drug use, we look at the statistics from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and what we intend to do in terms of raising awareness and try to work with the justice system to ensure that it's more friendlier towards young people who are coming into conflict with the law. And illegal migration, addressing that would require ensuring that young people have skills, employable skills or livelihood skills that can ensure that once they graduate from high school and they cannot have the opportunity to go to university, they can be able to enroll in a skills building training, and eventually maybe 2 years or so they get to do some internship and get to work. So each one of them virtually have its own areas, and within the sectors we align, within the ministry, we align the sectoral issues to the relevant institution. So youth empowerment, youth advocacy, drug issues would go under the National Youth Council. Things that relate with sport would go under the Sport Council. Entrepreneurship skills and entrepreneurship building will go under NEDI, which is the National Enterprise Development Initiative. And NYSS become the recruiting body for young people who are interested in skills building, and then put them in a training institution for 2 years, paid by government. And once they finish, they have their internship program and then gradually move into the job market. So this is the framework at the ministry. And one thing that the policy requests for is to have a cabinet subcommittee on youth issues. And that has been approved through the submission of the cabinet paper. And there are a few ministries that have been put together as a cabinet subcommittee on youth. And mostly youth and sports, Ministry of Gender, Women and Children, the Ministry of Fisheries, the Ministry of Interior, and I think that of Environment. So these are about 5 ministries that have been put together to form the Cabinet Subcommittee on Youth.
So let's look at the entrepreneurship part. I know a lot of the young people, especially who go through the backway illegal migration, when they come back, they find it difficult to integrate in society. They have a token that through the IMO that they receive, but a lot of people will say that amount cannot help them set up, because when you come, you're trying to integrate in society. How much is available to support you in any art that you want or business you want to start? What is government providing to these people in terms of assistance, in terms of social support? Because you know they go through this journey, it's painful, and then they come back without their desired goal. So what kind of support is government giving to these young people, especially those who go through the backway?
Well, on their return, because the first thing is we try to discourage the issue of illegal migration. And difficult to say, yes, all of us have needs, and young people would, find a way to survive, either here or try to find a way outside, and nobody is against that. But we want young people to find the right way to travel if they must travel. And but once it didn't happen and they go, and some of them, of course, are lucky and they get integrated into the European societies and do well. Some of them might not be lucky. Some of them don't even get to reach Europe. They stop in Libya or Mali or come back, others eventually go to Europe and come back. But once they're here, that's where the issue is. How do we reintegrate them, and how do we ensure that we support them? Now, the government, there is a central coordinating mechanism in place that is chaired by the Office of the Vice President, and there are ministries that are responsible. So for the issue of the reintegration, that is under the Ministry of Interior. Now, so Interior is responsible for integration and all of that. And communication matters, local government have a role to play. Now, the youth ministry does not have a lot of role to play as it is right now. And these are things that we're trying to correct as well. The National Youth Council was the one that was in the National Coordinating Mechanism, and they stopped at the technical level. So at the policy level, it's the Ministry of Youth and Sports should have been there if something happened, but now we're trying to correct that. Now, our role will be to work with the Ministry of Interior to help these young people to reintegrate. But also, we're working through the IOM and others to ensure that they also have that psychosocial support. Because once they come and you just put them back into the community, it doesn't help, because some of them come back with a lot of issues, a lot of distress, and a lot of trauma. So it's important they have that psychosocial support. And after the psychosocial support, then they have to identify their needs. Some of them might have already gotten skills, and all they need is somebody to support them to set up a business. Then they're able to do that. Some of them did not have a skill at all, and maybe they have gone past the school-going age, and so what you need to do is find them a way that they can be able to learn skills. So this is where we would come in on board and support. So like I said, at the moment, the National Youth Service Scheme, which is the NYSS, is doing the recruitment. It's not been done for some time, but now we're doing that, and we're starting with the apprenticeship training program. So the apprenticeship training program, which currently is ongoing with 200 young people that are being trained across the country, and they will all be taken to institution of their choice, is targeting those that have either stopped at grade 9 or did not go to school at all. And once they come in, they get oriented and then sent into the training school that can fit their requirement. And the other program is the entrepreneurship development, where somebody who must have had a business in the Gambia, but decided to sell the business and go to Europe. If you're interested in re-establishing your businesses, then government supports you to set it up. If you don't have a business, but you're interested in business, then we match you up with somebody who has already had the business experience, and they help you to set up something. Will that be a guarantee they will stay? Maybe not. No. Because if you sell your business and go, there's no guarantee that even if you set it up, you will not sell again. But as a government, as a ministry, our role is to provide it. And we're trying to do that. Now, what they do after that will depend on the economic conditions that they face themselves. But the GSI, which is the Gambia Songhai Initiative, which is a farm in Charmen, is also doing that. So every year we recruit 100 young people, and we train them for 1 year on agricultural, whatever they're interested in, animal husbandry or poultry or just normal gardening. After the 1 year, they're giving a small grant to go and start up something in their communities. These are the kind of interventions that are on, and in the policy, it stipulates all of those things in there. And we're hoping that these would be steps that can be taken to address some of the root causes of the illegal migration and all that comes into play. So far, with the 20 million that was launched by the president in December, actually January 9th, I think they have already given about 5.6 million acts of the latest that we have that were loaned. This coming Saturday, we're presenting other checks up to about 3 million that's going to happen this Saturday, and it's about 30 of them that are giving each 50,000, and they came up with a business plan and what they want to do. And then there are some that opted for materials. So we provide the materials for them. Some that opted for cash, they provide cash for them, but it's up to about $3 million that will be presented.
What is the criteria to access this? I don't is it because I have to know Bakary, or I have to?
No.
What is the criteria? Because it's important. I had the Minister of Fatou here, and you know, I was amazed by the projects they had under her ministry, the kind of support they're giving women. I was surprised that I didn't even know about it. But what are the criteria that is needed to access these loans? Because there are young people, especially in the urban and rural areas, who will want to, but they wouldn't know how to access these loans.
No, that's true. Well, one thing we do is also publish it. I mean, for me, somebody knows I'm always on Facebook. So our presence on Facebook is what we use to sell out these forms and other things for people to apply. But each of those institutions, like NEDI, for instance, have a Facebook page where they put, anytime they have funds, they publish it. Whether it's funds from central government or funds from the Tech Ifi project, they send it out there, and sometimes they put it on the newspapers. And then the regional offices or regional youth offices also have the forms. And anytime they have meetings with young people, they tell them these facilities are available. The NYSS forms were distributed. In fact, the NYSS forms, we have the young people that applied were about 400 or something, when we expected to take 200. So we have a majority who were not able to have access because the program has a limitation. So for to come back to the issue of the loan, it's between 18 and 35. Because we're looking at the age group, age group of youth. And according to the African Youth Charter, which Gambia is using now, the age for a young person is somebody between 15 and 35. But because it's money and you want people who are responsible enough to be able to manage it, that's why we peg it at 15 and 35. Now, if you're above 35, then you've already gone past the youth age. And, maybe you're catered under the adults program if there is anything like that. But yeah, so that's one, which is the age limitation. Second, like I said, we have the grant and we have the loan. For the grant, which is 50,000, that's free money that is given to young people to set up a business or improve on their business. Now, that is if you're within the age and you already have a business that you've run for some time, and we believe that when we give you that money, you'll be able to use it to improve on your business, then you access it. Now, for the loan, because we want to ensure that people pay, that has a little bit more stringent requirement. Well, not stringent, but at least some basic requirement. Apart from the age, your business must have been existing for more than a year for you to be able to access the loan. And then you must have an operating bank account, and you must also not have an existing loan in the bank, just to ensure that people are able to pay. And then there will be some form of a guarantee that somebody to put in a collateral so that you're able to pay. Because what happens is sometimes you give these loans to people, to young people, well, people across the board, and they're not able to pay. And we want to ensure that when it's called a revolving loan, it's actually revolving, that you take it, use it, and then bring it back. And you can apply up to 500,000. So between 50,000 and 500,000 is what you can access. So far, those that we have given, one is, most of them are doing very well. But you have one in North Bank who is having an animal husbandry and is doing well. We have a poultry farm in Sanyang, one of these coastal towns, that also have been supported. And you have about 2-3 of them that were running salons in Bajo and Kanifing, and they access it to improve on their salons. One has a tailoring shop around Kotu. So quite a number of different areas. The only thing that is not qualified is transportation, because we don't want people to start saying, I want to buy a taxi, and all of a sudden you buy a bad one and you get involved in an accident or it got so. But any other thing apart from transportation, you can access the loan. And it's just the Ministry of Finance for us managing. It's jointly managed by NEDI and SDF, because we don't have the experience in credit management. So we decided to collaborate with SDF, and SDF is the one that is disbursing the loans, and people pay back to SDF, and then they use it to give to some more young people.
So my question, it brings back to what I was just saying when it comes to collateral. Two things, collateral and also support and training that you give to these young people. You give a young person, 25-year-old, $50,000 is grant, and you don't train them on how to use that money. They don't know how to keep their books. They don't know, they don't distinguish between business money and family money. This is how most of us fail in business. We're all typical examples. Sometimes you fail too many times before you get there because you don't have that training, you don't have that support. What kind of training are you also providing to those young people when you give them this money? But secondly, I have said this, how many of us can put a collateral to access these finances? Is there plans of making it more lenient so that people can have access to the money? But putting a title deed is something that has been a problem for so many young people.
No, that's true. I mean, the first thing is about the training. Maybe I missed that out. So one of the criteria or the requirement for you to for one to access the grant, both the grant and the loan, is that you must have done an entrepreneurship training. So you bring the certificate, that's part of the application process. So NEDI runs the training, and then they use experts from some of these training institutions to come. And it's a 5-day training that they help them on business management, bookkeeping, and some of those basic things. And then once they're done, they're certified. And when you apply, you must attach that certificate. And that's it. So, and then TechIFI also does training, similar training. So young people that are ongoing in the business, they will eventually be benefiting from those training acts. They go. But like I mentioned earlier, there's also the mentorship program, where young people who access the grant will be attached to somebody else who has already succeeded in a business, and the person will learn something from that other one who has already established. So these are the two things, the training and the mentorship. And so in terms of the collateral, we're also looking at both sides. How do we ensure that people take and pay? But that's why we also have two programs, the grant and the loan. So if you are not meet the requirement for the loan, you can apply for the grant. And then with 50,000, you're able to use that to invest. And after a year, and that is, of course, we've not gone to that level, but the plan is when they get to a year and they're doing well, they will have enough to be able to apply for the grant. And we must have also seen that this person is able to manage the 50,000 that has been given to him or her, and now can easily access the loan. But the collateral is not, it doesn't have to be a title deed. And that's why I say some will prefer the material. So if you take an equipment and not the cash, the equipment becomes that of NEDI. You don't, like if you buy machines for you, say you want to be a cameraman and we buy a camera for you, we own the camera. You use it and do your business and you pay back. If you said, like we have young people who are interested in fishing, they make buy the boats for them and give it to them. NEDI owns the boats. And then you use it and you work and then pay along the line. If at any time we realize that you're not paying, then we have a right to come and take the boat from you or take the machine from you. So that is the kind of ideas that we're doing, and it's so far working very well. It doesn't have to be that if you fail to pay 1, 2 months, 3 months, they'll take it away from you. They help you to recover. But in as much as we want to help some people, there are some that maybe helping them becomes difficult because they have other things that they're focusing on apart from the business. Then we will take over the material. But if you want 500,000, then you certainly should be able to bring in a collateral, a title deed that will guarantee that money. But 100,000, 150,000, if you said I have the machine, I want to put my machine as collateral, they give it to you. So that is the conditions that are there. But the most important thing is not like one rule across the board. We look at the individuals and what their needs are, and we work with them to be able to benefit. But at the same time, ensure that they don't cut off that benefit that has been brought by government so that other people can benefit along the line.
This is interesting. And me and so many other people don't know about this. And I think it's really important for people to know this because there's so much access to some of these things. It's just knowing the right channels and knowing what to do. But what about people not so young like me, people that are in the business industry, and we are not very young, but we are not also very old, and we want to have access to, because we belong to this ministry.
To the ministry.
Don't we?
Well, yes, you belong to the youth ministry because, somebody said there is those that are youth by age and those that are youthful, by their character and their accents.
We are so youthful though.
So for those that are youthful and not within the age above 35, if you're a woman, they're lucky because at least alongside the Youth Revolving Loan, there is the Women Enterprise Fund.
Oh, great.
That is under the Ministry of Gender. So, that's what we tell some people. Like, man, I'm not 37, then Demalchi, the women minister, apply for help. So at least there is something that covers the other people. Now, maybe the men, who are above 35 are not lucky for now. But at least these programs are there. But again, you cannot just make it an open end thing where everybody can access. There must be limits. And because the ministry deals with young people, we just want to limit ourselves to the youth age, so that you're not just getting everybody on board. These challenges actually might be, but I think if somebody is 35, 34 and you benefit, eventually you establish yourself, the bank can be accessible. And now that the interest rates are lower, probably lower than before, that might be a way of getting them there. But we are more concerned about those young people because that's the focus for now in terms of, because not that the 35 above don't go to the back way, they do, but the highest number is like those who are between maybe 20 going up to 30 something. And those are the ones that we want to ensure that they get something going on in their lives before they get discouraged and leave.
How do you think the COVID-19 affected the young people in this country?
Well, it's a lot. Almost everything. I'm sure Mr. President will come in the area of sports, but our young people a lot of them are into sports, and during the COVID-19 they were not able to do a lot of activities, and generating, the gyms were closed, the athletes were not doing their trainings properly, football was not going on right, and quite a number of issues, and these are young people are stakeholders in that. But if you look at the other side of it, it's about the education aspect. You have a lot of young people who are in tertiary institutions, in the university, that were not able to have that one-to-one classes, and then they were not able to have classes on time. And, so that also affected the education sector as well, which is dominated by young people. Business is the same thing. If the economy is impacted by the causes of COVID, and you have a lot of young people who are in the business sector, it means they're not also getting in the income that they should get. So it's across the board, almost every area, that every facet of young people was affected by COVID. And we hope that, it will eventually go away, finally, and people can be able to go back to their normal businesses. And, quite a number of things are not going right. And so those who are even in the transport sector before now were asked to cut to half of what the capacity of the vehicles would be. And these are all young people. So anywhere that you touch, it's young people are there, and they have been affected seriously. But again, the number of deaths, also makes it difficult for young people when their parents, who are maybe the breadwinner or something, are no longer there, or young people have to stay away from work and to care for somebody who is sick at home. So it's almost everything that anybody can think of that have affected young people.
So Kabba, how was GFF able to get out of COVID now that the league have started? How was it difficult coming out of COVID and getting started and making sure everything is smoothly running right now?
Yeah, I think Kabba is still here.
Yeah.
And then the second or third wave, or whatever the new variant, and if you look at the return from the Minister of Health for the briefings that they are giving, is still around, and all of us should be more careful.
Yeah.
And that we stay safe as much as possible. And then we, after consultations with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ministry of Health, we were given conditional, green lights to proceed with activities, but to ensure that the protocols are observed, even though very difficult, very challenging. We have a group of young people in this country, even elderly people. Sometimes you walk into the mosque with your mask, everybody look at you, and as you said, especially young people. But we did everything we are trying. Alhamdulillah, we had a very, as I said, the leaks went on very well. And then we ensure that the protocols to a certain extent are encouraged and then they're applied. But as I said, it's still with us, it's still around, and we still continue to ensure that we advise and encourage the athletes, the players, the officials, and all of us who are in the football to ensure that the protocols are respected, to at least to first of all, prevent yourself and the next person that you're going to interact with.
Finally, what has been your biggest challenge since taking over office? I've said this. You are like more of our test story.
Yeah,
if you succeed, all the young people succeed.
Yeah.
What has been your biggest challenge since taking over this office?
Well, our biggest challenge to tell, maybe I'll say is finance. It's finance because we're dealing with a sector that is difficult in terms of the demands. And unfortunately, the understanding is not the same like what we will expect. That youth and sports is not just about leisure. No. It's not just about young people, just Lolen Johrek Bahna. It's about a sector that needs a lot of resources to be able to do what they're doing. When you're dealing with the football association, you're dealing with basketball association, you're dealing with football, volleyball athletes, you're dealing with athletes, you're dealing with judo, with all of the chess and cricket and all of those.
And you're dealing with the most difficult sector in society, young people.
And all of those expect to go for competitions, do competitions locally, do competitions international, and traveling is expensive. The budget cannot be able to sustain that. So the amount of requests that we have on a weekly basis coming from associations and individuals to request expecting support. And like you said, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't even know which one to use because I come from that sector. People expect too much from me. And not understanding that we don't produce the money. We don't collect revenue. We only spend what based on what is coming.
What is allocated,
So sometimes when you're able to do, you're disappointment, you're this, not understanding that we're also facing our internal challenges, just like a government. So I think that's one of the challenges we have. And then of course, the infrastructure also has not been placed. So no matter how much you want to develop a lot of things, if the basics, if the ground was never there, it becomes a problem. So our intention is to be able to satisfy the young people out there, but we're hoping that we'll be able to do more with time. But so far, so great, and like I said, the President, the Minister of Finance, everybody have been supporting since I was appointed, and things have become much easier, and we're building more relationships, we're building more bridges actual between us and the associations, and I think that matters a lot, and that is what's going to take our sports and our young people forward. So we're hoping for the best in the coming months and years, but yes, young people see me and see me in themselves, and they,
we expect so much as well.
Yeah, of course, and we're trying to live by that. I've never lost fact of where I came from. I've never lost fact that I was also on that side, criticizing what was not going right. And so anytime I want to make a decision, I also think about that. And anytime I want to say something, I also think about what I was saying and try to ensure that those claims are not false. It's something that I believe in, and I would always continue to do my best to provide for the sector. Because if I fail, like you said, it's going to say, oh, young people definitely.
Wow.
But also, if you succeed, also it's a success for every young person who is there.
Yeah.
And whether me or somebody else, I want that if I leave that ministry, somebody who is also young comes and take it. Because I mean, I understand how it is when young people can have easy access to you.
Yeah.
They can invite you to even a small event and you will go and attend it, and you can relate with them in a way that probably somebody else will not be able to do. And that's what we try to do. I was with President in DRC, and all of us would sit with the boys and chat. You know, in the evening, we went to the Olympics. I spent a week at the Olympics, and I was relating with Gina and others, and maybe that relationship cannot be there. It might not be much, but it has an impact on the psychology of the players and the things that they do in the pitch or on the tracks. So for me, that is what matters, and you know, we'll continue to do that. And just to say again, back to the issue of the players, we have a very good relationship with all of them. Some of them we know each other personally, and we talk about things, we text each other, we chat. You know, what happens on the news and other things is sometimes a distraction. Sometimes it's things that come up from people who are not within and they don't understand what is happening. But can we do everything? No. But we will try to do our best to provide for the sector as much as we can.
And finally, AFCON. You know, I think by now the fever should have been, you know, we want to be hearing the songs, to start cheering on the team and all this. What, you know, when are we going to see all of that? So, yeah, the committee is set up.
We speak now with the commission, the National Coordinating Committee has been divided into, we have 3 subcommittees.
Yeah.
And one is for media publicity, set up, being chaired by our
yeah.
We have the marketing and
finance
and
marketing.
fundraising chaired by Dimas Diop. And then also we have the logistic committee for the operations of the NCC. And then the technical committee is more in-house.
Yeah.
Also the coach and the second vice president of the charge of the matter. So as we speak now, since our meeting last Wednesday, all these committees have been meeting together. So we are meeting on Friday at the NCC and all the work and the plans for program. So then, at the next week, we'll hear from us.
Interesting.
And we plan for to launch the committee at the regional level also. The provincial region, when it's the region, Badjie is the region, but when it's the region, it's more because the governorate rates, to do the launching, symbolical launch, so that every government sees that we have one. We are not also forgetting about the diaspora. We are at March, some representatives in the diaspora, across the Atlantic and Europe and other parts of Africa. And we have people who also working with the committee. I'm sure the Gambians also not only raising funds, we are just the main objective, but that
to be involved, to take ownership. Yeah.
So there are many things that I'm very soon
Interesting. I mean, this is the first time I have said it, and I think I was one of those who made the post on Facebook, you know, to congratulate both of you, because for the first time this is happening in our country. We have never had this, so we want to, you know, it's going to be interesting, and we look forward to that, Honorable Minister. What's your final message to the government, especially those sports fans who are looking forward to the AFCON preparations? That's the bit. For me, football is not about the game. It's about gearing up to the game. That's when, you know, you enjoy it. So what are you telling those football fans and the general Gambian public, especially, to take ownership of this and everybody put their support and their support behind the team and the entire management?
No, that's a clear message. Like the president said, I think the vice president of the republic also said the same thing when she launched the NCCE.
Yeah.
That this is a national issue.
Yeah.
It's true. The GFF and the ministry work together to provide the leadership in that area, but it's a national issue. Every Gambian must be seen to be part of it and be proud of what we have achieved as a country. And you know, like people always say, it's not us there. It's the people that have been there before us who have built up until where we are now.
Actually.
And then we continue to be able to achieve this. So we want that to come up, and that's why the committee is diverse, but also we want every Gambian to support, financially if they can. If they cannot, the euphoria around it and everything, that's part of it. And some people believe in prayers, the prayer aspect of it. So all of that comes together is what has given us the results. And we want to continue that trend until we get to Cameroon on the 9th, when the opening 9th of January. And then we're hopeful that Gambia will get out of the group stage and get into the quarterfinals and then possibly move on, even though it's our first time. But we want to ask every Gambian to support. I think the most important thing is the finances, and we also expect people to appeal to people to contribute. We will announce the bank accounts and all the things that are going to be open. But in terms of the musicians and everything, I saw some time ago, I think the fans club or one of the musicians met with the president. And Friday, I am meeting the Scorpions fans club through their request. And maybe they will come up with something. There is also a proposal that we received from a group of Gambian musicians who want to do a theme song and all of that. So all of these, because what I used to tell them when they come is that this is not a ministry alone issue.
No, this is...
We will have an NCC. We will table this at the NCC, and the NCC will discuss it, and then eventually, as a team, we will agree as to what to do. But, we're not in a position to decide. But there are already people that have already gone ahead to make proposals on what they want to do. So they're only waiting on us. And now that we have set up the NCC, they will come and present their ideas, and the NCC will look at it, review it, and then give approval to some. And I'm sure in the next 1 month or so, your media and other medias will start getting these clips and everything and air it. And, the links to support for the diaspora will also be published. The accounts will support. And Gambians, if we're finding a way out of it, maybe somehow people might want to go to Cameroon. The NCC will discuss that. Those who want to go, what will be their contribution, what are we able to do to ensure that we take some funds to Cameroon. All of those things are in the plan. But it's premature to anybody to say anything at the moment. We will allow the committee to do that when the right time comes.
When the right time comes.
So, thanks to everybody. What we expect, their full participation.
We look forward to all of this, and we will be in Cameroon. Be rest assured, we will be in Cameroon. Thank you very much, Kabba. Thank you very much, Bakary. Until we come your way next time, good night to you all. Bye-bye.
Better and stronger as the sole ground operator at the Banjul International Airport. With an expansion in travel services, customers are assured of GIA's capacity to cater for all their travel needs, provided by professional, experienced, and ever-smiling staff. GIA's Hajj package and services, by far the best in the country, give the customers the opportunity for a memorable Hajj experience. For a more efficient cargo services, GIA means business as it launches its new multi-million-dollar ultra-modern cargo complex to revitalize and stimulate air transport. GIA, the pride of the Gambia.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yai Borom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data, it's fast, lasts longer, and very reliable. Gamcell Yai Borom.